Yeah, we're back. We're getting a little long in the tooth, so we want to give you the most coverage and the most analysis as we can. So we're back with stocks, and I'm gonna give you my top 10 now. This is tight, man. Five and six were close to me. The Eagles and the Seahawks, and I just think these two were really close. The only bad loss for the Seahawks again was the Eagles or not the Eagles. I'm sorry, was the Giants, and so that's unfortunate for him. But he's still a good team, and the Eagles is not my number 6. I know you had the Steelers in your top 5, right?
Yeah, yep, just inside my top 5, yep.
Yeah. Steelers comes in number 7 on my list, so you probably could defend them a little bit on that one. The Vikings number 8. Yeah, I got the Panthers number 9. We talked about the Panthers deserving to be in the top 10.
Yep.
And I got the Dallas Cowboys in number 10 just because of his resiliency, man. He really showed me something. And again, if a guy's gonna hold me down like that, I gotta give him credit. So again, if you didn't hear that, that's Eagles, Steelers, Vikings, Panthers, Bengals, or not Bengals, sorry, and that's Cowboys.
Okay. Vikings long term. What do you expect in the quarterback situation? Do you believe Ponder can carry that team, or could that be his downfall for the year? You know, Ponder is only rated a 73. I don't know what his overall potential is.
I think it's an A.
Yeah, okay, so it would be an A. So he's definitely going to go up next year.
Yeah, I think we see him in the 80s.
Yep.
84, 83. So he'll be just as high as a rookie quarterback coming in.
Okay, he's got an 84 throw power and an 84 throw accuracy.
Yeah.
So he has pretty decent stats. Is he enough to get the Vikings to the top and maybe even a playoff, run?
I think so. I think so with Adrian Peterson. Because
yeah, definitely.
Because he doesn't need Ponder to go out there and throw 300 yards. Ponder could be very economical and only throw 6 or 7 passes and let Peterson sometimes have the ball 30, 40 times a game. But I also think Ponder has the potential to carry a team for a few games if he needs to. I don't think Ponder could carry you for a whole season. I don't think he's an Aaron Rodgers type. I don't think he's, a Michael Vick type. You could just give the ball and expect things to happen. He needs players around him, but I think he's a very decent player. He's a kind of a Matt Ryan to me.
Yeah, yep, that's a very good comparison. Yep.
He's a Matt Ryan, a higher end, Orton. He's that kind of guy, and he's still young, so we don't really know. He could shoot up higher than we think.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think for that team, he fits. And they talk about this in real, and we've talked about this before. It's all about how players fit within a system. I know you've talked about, for an example, going to a 3-4 versus a 4-3 with your defense, and that's kind of what he's got right now. He knows he's got Ponder. He could have stuck with McNabb, and I mean that's probably always going to be the debate this season with the Vikings. If he would have stuck with McNabb, could he have beat Manny this week, or could he have done this, But I think he wanted to get the young guy out there because he knows the young guy is his franchise quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. You put it right on the head, right in there. Long term, he's throwing the wolf to the fire right now. So
yeah,
you can't knock him for that. But he's the type of player that can do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we said, we go back. He's an old timer. He knows the Madden sticks. He knows defense. He's gonna hit you on offense from every angle. And yeah, he's a great owner.
Yep. Like I said, when you got Adrian Peterson, you don't need to throw the ball too much.
Yeah.
All he's got to do is be a high-end manager, and he'll be fine. And I have to applaud him for putting him out there because for two things, right? He could have stuck with McNabb, but he says, if Ponder doesn't work, I gotta know it so I can change.
Mm-hmm.
If Ponder doesn't work, he can trade for a Tim Tebow maybe, or a Kai Orton, or these quarterbacks that might have been out there. So he's throwing them out there saying, I need to know what I got.
I have a quick question to change subjects real quick. Is backup quarterbacks this year? Do you believe any backup quarterbacks will have a higher rating that will? I don't know how many quarterbacks we're going to have retired next year, but become trade bait. Do you believe there's any backup quarterbacks that will be able to start next year in case of a retirement?
Oh man, let's see. That's a good question. That's a so good question. I gotta think about it in a minute.
Okay, we'll come back to that one then. I'll give you next show. We'll talk about that then.
Well, I think right now, just off the top of my head, I think Tim Tebow could lead a franchise if done right.
Yep. Okay.
If you want him, it depends. If you could put him in a Ponder situation right now, I think, or next year, not this year. Next year, you could put him in a Ponder situation where he's got a top end running back.
Okay. All right. So then back to our power rankings. Not too much talk about Philly.
No, I think that's because it was a dream team and we expect him to be undefeated, and he's not. I honestly think that's why. Because when you have that many good guys, and we're not just talking about the real changes. He added Lance Briggs. He added Lawrence Atupu. I mean, he added Jamarcus Finley, Clay Matthews.
Clay Matthews, Charles Woodson.
So he did it with the trade, man. I can't give him any higher than that.
Okay. Do you believe that he's sitting back right now just okay, and because of the type of players he has, he can make a run, 10 wins in a row?
Maybe.
I
think maybe. I honestly think he thought he was going to be off to. I think him and Manny kind of messed up with that trade so soon to the start of the season. That's my honest opinion, because they swapped so many guys so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it kind of messed with them right away. And then, obviously, it hurts having an undefeated team in your division, because it's hard to catch a team like that. But there's no excuse. He's got every player in the book. He with that trade, he gave up his first round draft pick. He gave up a younger version of he gave up younger and Asante Samuel. He's younger than Woodson. Like I said, he gave up a first round draft pick. I mean, so he gave up his future in a sense for this year, and he's not getting it done. Lance Briggs isn't going to last long,
Yeah. Yep.
Lawrence Atupu, he might last you a while, but that's no problem. Clay Matthews, obviously a stud. He's going to be there probably forever. But I think the reason I have him so low is I expected more out of him. I'm not going to lie.
Yep.
I thought he was a good player, and I still think he's a good player. And I think right now you might be right. He might just be sitting back. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is his time to fire up, because the Giants aren't slowing down.
Yeah, exactly.
The Cowboys are maybe pushing towards, he's pushing. He could maybe, he might not win the division, but he could be there for the wild card. But, only one person's going to get the division. Only one person's going to get the wild card. Right now, it's between the Eagles and the Cowboys, if you ask me. And didn't you say they play next week?
Uh-huh.
The Cowboys and the Eagles, didn't you say?
Yes, they're playing next week.
Next week, that's the game. The game of the week. Because they're in similar situations. One of them's got to win. One of them's got to lose. And that's very, very important, because one of them's getting wild card and one of them's not.
Crucial game.
Yeah, because you got people in my division. You got the Vikings. You got Manny. You got maybe me if I roll off some big wins. You never know in this league.
We're almost halfway there, so.
Yep, it's starting to form. My point is,
it's definitely forming, yeah.
If you're sitting back waiting for the wild card, you're doing everything wrong. You should be out there trying to win now and win right away, because you never know when your wins are coming, and you never know when your losses are coming. Because you know it as good as I know it, Stocks. You never know when injury comes. You
Oh,
know,
definitely.
God forbid if something happens to Drew Brees or, Calvin Johnson
Oh, I
or
know.
Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers or, Michael Vick. If
Yep.
something happens to Michael Vick, we talked about it in the first show.
Yeah, it changes your whole season.
If something happens to the runner, I was talking about Felix Jones being a dominant force. Something happens to the runner's team, and Felix Jones goes out, he's got Murray and all these other guys, but you can't replace superstar guys.
No, definitely not.
Um,
So did you want to go into the teams that just fell outside your top 10?
yeah, I gotta give a lot of love to the Colts. He could do some damage. We unfortunately I feel bad because sometimes we talk a lot about the NFC North and the NFC and that kind of thing because that's the division we're in. That's the kind of guys we're familiar with. That's the guys we kind of play. So unfortunately that happens. But guys like the Chargers, the Colts.
Well, I can give the I played the Colts last night, and he was up 7-0 after the first half. He's a really good, solid owner. He knows how to move the Colts around.
Yep.
His defense is really stout. I mean, he doesn't have any playmaking. He's got Freeney and Mathis on his defense, and that's really basically it. But he's got other guys to work with, and he's making them work. And he gave me fits last night. I mean, he's a good component of what the Colts are meant to be in Madden, and he does that. He gets to the line, he looks real quick, he'll change it if he needs to. He'll do a hot route or whatever, and he finds that open person.
So would you say that okay, we got about 8 minutes here, or maybe longer. We can go longer. Screw it. We'll do it live. But I love that, don't you? But no,
that's one of the classics.
We're doing it live right now.
Yep.
Would you do the Colts winning the division or the Texans?
Now that I played both of them,
Yeah, because I know you put both of them in. We don't give enough love to the AFC. So right here is your AFC love for 10 straight minutes.
that's gonna come down to the wire. If I was gonna give it to anybody, I'd probably give it to the Colts. Just because of the Manning factor. I know the Texans, have Andre Johnson. I know the Texans have Kenny Britt now, Terrell Owens, T.J. Houshmandzadeh. I mean, he's got a lot of firepower.
Yep.
But it's the Manning versus Matt Schaub deal. What I saw last night with Manning was he made one mistake, and the one mistake cost him an INT, and that was it. So, and his defense is, like I said, the Colts defense just seemed like he did enough to hold me back.
And the reason I want to talk about the Colts and the Texans, obviously, because they're really close in the division and they're probably fighting for the division, and the two guys that watch the show. So obviously, me and Stocks are going to give more love to the people that watch the show because they're the ones watching the show. So, but I mean, that's just simple. But I know the Colts. I haven't played him, but just I talked to him once. His philosophy is very simple. Just manage. Don't do anything crazy. You can tell me if you did this or not. He doesn't take too many risks. He's very smart. He embodies what Peyton Manning is on the field. Very smart. Tries not to make too many mistakes. Makes the right reads.
He uses he uses Joseph Adai, which is, you would think, just a garbage running back. In Madden, you'd be like, oh, I don't want him. He uses Joseph Adai exactly the way Joseph Adai was built to be made. He's more the slasher, cutback runner in the holes.
Yeah.
He doesn't sweep them outside to try to hit the lanes on the outside because he doesn't have that speed. So he uses them just on the outside, the guards and your tackles,
Yeah.
and uses them, pretty really. And he ran well against me last night. And I think he's another owner that knows the Colts, very specific, and knows their strengths and weaknesses, and he exploits them against you.
Isn't that funny? Because I know the Lions. So when I was losing games, I knew exactly what I needed to do to fix it. Matthew Stafford's accuracy wasn't good. Manny knows the Packers. So he starts tweaking with the Packers, and he finally figured it out because he knows Aaron Rodgers. When you have it, I know you're a Packers fan. You got the Saints, but you've had the Saints and Drew Brees for a while. I mean, am I wrong? You've had Drew Brees in in past leagues and that kind of stuff. So when you know your players, it makes it tons easier. And you know, I want to give love to the Texans. I want to say he can win the division, but he's got all the pieces.
Oh yes, he's got the firepower. Don't get me wrong.
And
His pass offense is very. It's one of the top up there. I mean, you can't deny it. You
no,
know. But the thing is he's got old players. Hushmanzada and T.O. could retire next year, so he better do it this year. You know.
well, all indications are T.O. retires and Husma stays for one more year. But who knows the drop or if he actually retires or what happens with all that. But the Texans made it clear when he signed Terrell Owens, Husmanzada, when he got Best, their slasher back, for me, he made it clear that he wants to put up points fast, furious, and right now. Now the problem, not the problem. I mean, it's his philosophy. The thing I have concern with right away, red flag. If he doesn't win the division, he's in trouble, isn't he? Because he sold out to win now. I don't know if he can get the wild card or not, but my point is, he got Terrell Owens, he got Husmanzada, he got all these guys. They're not going to last.
Well, the thing is you got the Jets and Patriots at 4-2. You got Cincinnati and Pittsburgh at 4-2. I don't know. This is week 7, so I don't know what you guys have done this week. I'm just saying,
Right.
wild card wise, you're gonna have to win the AFC South, I believe, to get into the playoffs. So
yeah, I think so too.
That's gonna come down to a dogfight.
And I'm not saying what he did was wrong. I'm just saying he built that team to win now, just like the Eagles built to win now. I mean, so when you're built to win now, you're putting all your chips on the table. Where a team like me, I'm going to go out there and scratch and claw, but I never proclaimed to be a winner of a division. I think by the moves that Texans made, having a guy like Peyton Manning, when you have pieces like that are so good and so, don't want to say old, but are getting older, you got to win now, and that kind of puts pressure on you. So, which guy do you think will break first? I mean, do you see these guys breaking? I know you played the Colts, and I think you played the Texans.
The thing that stands out with me with the Colts is the Colts didn't have the original Colts. This guy has done nothing with this team, and that's kind of not alarming, but it raises a flag saying this guy doesn't make any super trades, didn't make any super free agent picks. He's not trading his draft picks. He's staying within the system, and with that, the Houston Texans he's going his route, which I can't deny is good or bad.
No,
but you know what I mean. He's going with a high-powered offense.
Yep.
As the Colts are just staying within the Colts. The Dallas Clarks, the Reggie Waynes, the Collies, the Joseph Adais. He hasn't traded Matthews. He didn't trade stuff like that. So he's more built with the original Colts, where the Texans are trying to go by the firepower, and it could be right, it could be wrong. We don't know yet.
Well, if you ask me, I think the Texans kind of built the team like the Colts. He's got old receivers. He's got a quarterback who's not very, he's not going to get outside the box and wow you. He's very, pocket passer-ish. He's got, wide receivers.
He's got Javid Best.
Yep. Who is faster than Adai, but he's a lot like Adai in the fact that they both have to be slashers. They can't be up in the middle, You're not going to run Best in the middle a lot, just like you're not going to run Joseph. It's going to be a lot of cutbacks, a lot of slashes, that kind of thing. So I think they built their teams very similarly, and the fact that they got to win now, because you said it, T.O.'s going to retire, T.J.'s getting older. Manning, that's one more year Manning gets older if he doesn't, make it to the playoffs. These type of things, I wanted to mention real quick. You did get Brian Cushing from the Texans.
Yes.
You sent Frank. I think we talked about that. Stock's saying he loves Cushing, and I'm sure the Texans loves Franklin. So those are big moves because this week is the end of the trade deadline, I believe. That's it for me. I'm gonna let Stocks roll this up, and we'll roll another one out shortly.
Peace.